What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified immediately as soon as we drop any new content on the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this one. So, this week, tomorrow actually, as of the recording of this video, Friday, we're gonna have Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams. This fight is going to be taking place in Cardiff, which is Liam Williams' backyard, so he's got home field advantage. So far, the build-up has been a little bit lackluster. There hasn't been any real fireworks in the build-up. The gloves are off with Johnny Nelson. Eubank Jr. was talking his normal stuff, was just himself, saying, yeah, this guy's got no bottle. When we were online, we had so much to say. He was so disrespectful online. Now we're here, now he's face to face with me, he's got nothing to say. Williams sort of remained quiet. He made a few comments about Eubank, the way he dresses and whatnot, and it was just sort of a general banter. Nothing really exceptional. You know, Williams said, yeah, if I was to take you in the back room, this would happen, that. Eubank just come back and said, listen, nothing would happen, you can take me to the back, nothing's going to happen there. We had the open workouts yesterday. Those were the things I noticed. There was Eubank Jr. was practicing a lot of his straight punches, you know, trying to extend the arms and sort of punch a bit straighter. He was working on that sort of thing. Some of it was Mayweather-esque with little tap tap bum bum bum, that sort of stuff, you know. So he seemed to be working on extending his punches, throwing shots from long range. Some of it looked a little bit disjointed. Some of it seemed to have a bit of hesitancy there, or a bit of lack of coordination. Sometimes on the pads, it didn't look like they've got it perfect yet, but. Yeah, he seemed to be relaxed. He seemed to be just practicing that particular aspect of the game. So straight shots, you know, keeping it long, a few little ones added in there. That seemed to be what it was. Liam Williams was there as well, of course. He done his workout at another gen. I forget, I'm not sure of his name. He took Williams on the pads. Williams' style seemed to be adopting that Adam Booth style. He had like a sort of low left hand. During his pad session, it was a sort of low left hand, and he was basically practicing a bit of boxing. He wasn't really doing any of this come forward stuff in his open workout session. It was mainly sort of long range, left hand low, flicking the jab up and stuff like that. It was a lot of more boxing than brawling is what we saw in his open workout. So you never know. That could, I mean, I get the feeling in this that Williams might even come out there and try to outbox Eubank, at least for some portion of the fight. I think that's based on what I've seen in that little session, unless it's just sort of a thing they're doing just to practice, just to have a bit of fun. I get the feeling that he might at certain points in the fight try and use some boxing skills, low left hand, and try and outbox Eubank a little bit, which would be interesting because, as we know of Eubank's career, he struggles with slick boxers. I find that's the type of fighter he sort of struggles against. You look at the George Grove fight where George Groves was injured, and Eubank's feet weren't very good, and he was sort of leaping in, and at some points it was like you didn't really know what to do with that style of fighter. I mean, obviously he's developed. I think he's developed a bit since then, and he should have learned from that experience. But I think the Williams camp, they'll know that Eubank struggles with slick boxers, guys with good jabs, guys that don't just stand in front of him and try and have a war. Those are the guys he struggles with. So I think Williams is going to implement a little bit of that into his game, and it would be a bit of a surprise if he did. And I think that might work for him for a certain point. For Eubank, I think he's got to at least at some points in his fight, he's got to sort of go back to what he was doing beginning of his career, which is sort of try and draw you in to make mistakes. You know, a little bit of back foot boxing where you allow the man to come towards you and then reel off some combinations. I think Eubank's got to use, I think both men actually, they've got to use a bit of controlled aggression against each other. I believe that in Williams' case, if he comes full throttle, going forward, going after Eubank, I think that's definitely going to play into Eubank's hands. I think with Eubank, he's just got to keep calm, keep things under control, just box a good calm fight, work on a good jab, you know, work on coming forward himself behind a good solid jab, and you know, try and hold. I think Eubanks has got to sort of try and hold center of ring. That's quite important for both guys, and just be controlled with his aggression, be calm, and you know, let his hands go. I think Eubank, one of his, I think that Morrison fight, and you know, some of his recent work, he's been a bit more conservative, but I think in this fight, he's got the engine to punch for 12 rounds. He's got to sort of be aggressive, but be controlled, let his hands go. And I personally think, due to the better opposition that Eubank has fought, I think Eubank is just little that sort of fringe world level where you wouldn't say he's better than the best middleweights in the world, but you'd say that he's in a position where he's just outside of that. He's just short of that sort of level. Whereas Williams, I think, is a little bit below. It's one of those fights where I'm instinctively sort of picking Chris Eubank Jr. to win it. I do think Williams has got a good chance. I think Williams has got a good chance because he's got good power, good pop in his punches, and you know, he's gonna go after Eubank. But I would say for him, he's got to sort of mix it up a little bit. Don't just make it obvious for Eubank and go straight ahead for him. I think he's got to use pivots, use angles, use feints, and try to confuse Chris Eubank a little bit. And I think he could take a few hints from George Groves in terms of, you know, what George Groves was able to sort of do with De Gale and just outbox him in that irritating ways. He could add pockets of that as well. That's an Adam Booth thing. But overall, I think in spite of the home field advantage for Williams, I believe although he's got a chance, I think Chris Eubank Jr. is going to win this one. Some people have said stoppage. I don't go that confidently. I think Eubank wins this one on points, unanimously. I think Eubank is going to have some action in the fight. I think it's going to be a lively fight. I think it may even be pretty close, at least at certain parts. But I think Eubank Jr. wins this on points for me. That's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. How highly do you rate Chris Eubank Jr.? Do you think he's going to pull this off? Do you think Liam Williams will pull off this, I guess you could call it a minor upset? Let me know what you think. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out. Catch you on the next one.